that home and then what the house would appraise for. We put those three figures together and we find out what you qualify for. But now we got to look at your past tax payment history. We got to look at your income now and make sure you make enough to pay these monthly obligations like your taxes, insurance, and any other credit card bills like car payment or credit card bill that are mandatory obligations on your credit. And that's how we find out what you qualify for. Now, the percentage that you qualify for is based on your age. The younger you are, the less likely they're going to give you more. The older you are, the more they're going to give you, realistically, because you're going to be the first to unfortunately pass on. So they're more willing to give you more of that equity. A lot of people don't like the reverse because they say, well, this is ridiculous. My home appraises for $200,000 and I'm only getting $120,000. What about the other 80? Well, that other 80 they leave in the home. They leave it in the home for three reasons. Number one, in case you want to sell the home, they want you still to have equity in there. Number two, they leave it for whoever you want to leave the home to. But the third is the most important, and it's the real reason why they leave so much equity in the home, is because the government guarantees this. They guarantee the bank full payment, and they do not want to pay the bank anything. So the more equity they leave in the home, the less likelihood they're going to have to pay the bank the difference, that gap of what the house sold for and what the loan amount is. That's the real reason. So why would you need a reverse mortgage? Okay, and that's something that you really want to think about this year because you want to at least investigate it. The best thing you could do, most informed decision things you can make in life being retired, is look into the reverse and see what it would do for you. Don't do it. I'm not saying run and do it. I'm saying at least look into it and find out what your options are, especially since the rules have changed, especially since one of the largest rules have changed. We had an election recently, and there's a lot of turmoil going on right now in my industry because of that election. There's a lot of chaos and craziness. I, as a loan officer, took a huge pay cut because of this recent election, because there's so much uncertainty and nobody knows what this guy's going to do. So there's so much uncertainty right now. And what we're afraid of is if these rules change, kind of like how our pay changed, and these rules do not help out seniors and they wind up hurting seniors, it's more likely less of you would qualify. So we want to avoid that possibility. So if you have been looking into reverse but held out till for however long, what is it, January 20th or 21st, you better really get looking into it because things could drastic. I'm saying could, I'm not saying they're going to. Okay, we don't know. That's the uncertainty. We have nothing to go on. We have nothing to go on what he's going to do. We have no clue. So it might really be a good option to explore now before that happens. 1-800-952-PRAY, 1-800-952-7729. Why you would need a reverse mortgage? This is what my church seminar is about. It's about preparing properly for a successful retirement. If you're at least 62, if you're even 55, you need to be looking into what the reverse mortgage might do for you as a retirement option. Too many people, over 99%, are not properly prepared for the retirement. They're not properly prepared for life's emergencies that come up that make retirement totally different, that make life totally different than what we anticipated. And the number one thing that comes along is death. We do not anticipate. We know in the back of our mind that we push back, but we do not anticipate when our spouse is going to pass on. We always think we're all going to live forever. And if you're a married couple and you're at least 55, but especially if you're at least 62, if you're thinking about refinancing right now into a regular mortgage, you are going to be setting yourself up for a nightmare financially, and emotionally. Because if your spouse passes on and you're making a mortgage payment, that mortgage payment does not pass on with your spouse. Okay? You still have those same amount of bills. You have the same electric bills. You have the same car bills, the same credit card bills, the same mortgage payment, the same homeowner's insurance. All of these payments are still there except the food bill. And I'm not saying that in a joking way, but that is the only bill that gets cut in half. And if it was me, it'd be cut by 3/4 because of how much I eat. But that's the only bill that goes down. So if you are not properly prepared for that, that means calling Social Security today, not tomorrow. calling your pension, calling OPM today, not tomorrow, the retirement benefits, and seeing what the spousal benefits are when you pass on, and then planning your budget based on that figure today. You are not going to be properly prepared, and you're going to be in for a nightmare, because I get that call at least once a week from a spouse who says, my husband just passed on, or my wife just passed on, and I lost half of the income, and I can't pay this mortgage anymore. And we were looking into a reverse 4 years ago. We didn't do it because we were afraid. We didn't know the truth about it. And now now I heard the truth about it through you, Mr. Miles, now that my spouse has passed on, and I like it. And I think it would help me out. And I think it would help them out also, but unfortunately, they don't qualify because they refinanced into a regular mortgage. They borrowed more equity, and now their balance is too much, and I can't qualify them. That's 80% of those. 80%. I don't want you being one of those. In a reverse mortgage, remember the definition is you get to utilize the equity in your home and you control the monthly payment. And I'm telling you to make a payment. So if you're one of these people, I highly recommend looking into the reverse simply to set yourself up for life's emergencies that will come about. Still make payments. Prove to me you can keep the status quo if these life emergencies come up. Prove to me you can still make the payment if you lose your spouse or if your roof caves in. Prove to me you can still make that mortgage payment. Because I'll tell you what, if you can't, I have set you up for success and not failure, because you now control stopping or cutting that payment in half to step back and breathe and grieve for the loss of that loved one, to fix that roof or that car transmission without having to have made that payment, and then start making the payment again or half of it, whatever it is. But you now control that emergency instead of it controlling you. That's number one reason why. Repairs on your home. If you want to make repairs on your home, if you want to have a nice kitchen to wake up to every day, then the reverse could be a great option for you. Vacations, investment tools we didn't get into. Real quick, I want to tell you, because we always run out of time because I get so passionate about all this information. If you've got a reverse, you better think about refinancing it if people are calling you. Not to take out more money, but to at least acknowledge and reserve it, because you can't take that equity with you. And if you don't at least reserve it, not take it, at least reserve it, the bank gets it instead. You hand delivered it to the bank in the form of cash. You don't see that extra equity that's there because it's not told to you. Because if you did, you wouldn't hand deliver it to the bank. But if you don't at least utilize it and acknowledge it, not use it, but acknowledge it, the bank gets it. You desperately need to call me. If you know somebody that's got a reverse, especially in the DMV, especially in DC, you got to call me about refinancing your reverse and just at least acknowledging it, not taking it. 1-800-952-PRAY, 1-800-952-7729, WL 1450, 95.9 FM. Every Wednesday at 10 you can hear me. To God be the glory. Go out and make it a good one. Let people see Jesus in your eyes. Amen.